What's going on, everyone? This is Vince with VShred.com, and today we're gonna go over a couple of exercise modifications that normally are considered to be easier, but might actually work better for you if you're trying to build muscle and get stronger, because there are tons of reasons why you might not be able to do a specific exercise that's on your workout plan. And for some reason, modifications are sometimes frowned upon. People tend to think that they won't achieve the same results if they have to modify, but that's not true. Just because something is labeled as a modification doesn't mean it's less effective. So in today's video, we're gonna go over 5 of my favorite modifications that I think are just as good, if not better, than the original. I'ma keep on going up till the lights go down. All right, so like I said, today we're gonna go over a couple of exercise modifications that you should just consider trying out. And while these really will benefit everyone, this is gonna be especially effective for those of you who are a bit newer to working out, or if you just wanna try something new. But before we get into the first exercise, it's important to note that there are certain types of training methods that are worse and certain types that are better for specific people. And it ultimately depends on what your individual goal is, because if your main goal is to lose 50 or more pounds, you obviously need to be doing something different than someone who just wants to lose 5 or 10 pounds while putting on muscle. And that's really why my team and I here at VShred have created our free body type quiz to help people get started on the right path towards actually seeing results without charging them a penny. And if you want to check it out, all you got to do is click the link down in the description right below this video if you just want to learn what these exercise modifications are, because maybe you have an injury, or certain workout equipment is taken or broken or not available depending on where you're working out, or maybe you're traveling, or the prescribed exercise is just too difficult, or you just can't seem to get it right. Whatever the reason, modifications can be extremely beneficial to making sure, 1, you're still doing a similar exercise and working that muscle group, but 2, you're doing it in a way that you're actually gonna benefit from proper form and a full range of motion, therefore resulting in more strength and muscle gains. Because when we have to try a modification, sometimes it can feel like we aren't working as hard and we won't see the same amount of progress. However, in many cases, an exercise modification can be just as challenging, if not more challenging, as the advanced version. And sometimes it can even be harder because you're not cheating / faking your way through the reps, which, like I said, helps you build more strength, because you can get stronger by doing what you can do with proper form and execution instead of attempting to do what you can't do with proper form and execution. So if your problem is strength and that's why you need to do a modification, don't worry about it at all, because you'll still get stronger. And once you get good at the modification, you'll be able to advance to the real thing. Also, doing modifications can help you stay injury free. And sometimes you might even be doing modifications because you have an injury. But if it's because you aren't ready for the advanced movement, modifying exercises just prepares your body for that harder version. Because if you try to jump in and do something that your body isn't necessarily ready for too soon, you're just asking to get hurt. So make sure that you focus on form and slowly building, and in doing this, you'll protect your joints, you'll nail your form, and you'll ensure that when you're ready, you'll be able to execute at that next level properly. And then last but not least, you can build confidence and lift frustration free, because there's no quicker way to want to give up than being frustrated. And there's no faster way to get frustrated in the gym than feeling like you can't do an exercise right. So don't let ego or attitude hold you back from doing a modification. You'll feel better about your lift, really, and enhance your mental game, which is more than half of the gym battle altogether anyways. Now let's get into some of my favorite modifications that either I had to do early on in my training, or sometimes still have to do, or we have our clients here at VShred doing. And also, if you're liking the video so far, don't forget to click that thumbs up button below. It really helps other people see it so that we can help them as well, and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss out on any future videos, and click that little notification bell as well. But first up is a standard push-up versus a push-up from your knees. Now with this one, obviously the regular push-up is gonna be a harder version, simply because there's more weight that needs to be lowered and pressed upward. But with the push-up, your core also plays a pretty significant role, because when you have a weak core, what happens is your hips start sagging downward as the reps get tougher. And when this happens, whether it's due to core or upper body weakness, you need to drop your knees to the floor and stop seeing it as a bad thing. I would rather you get 5 good regular push-ups and then 10 good push-ups from your knees, instead of 5 good regular push-ups and then 4 to 5 crappy push-ups. Plus, when you're doing push-ups from your knees, you can actually target your triceps a little bit more when you focus on good tempo. But if you're gonna do that, just be sure and be mindful of keeping your elbows tucked into your side as you press. Next up, we have barbell back squats versus barbell front squats. Now, squats are obviously a staple in most programs, and some people might even have both of them because they do target your leg muscles slightly differently. And some people find back squats easier than front squats and vice versa. But it typically comes down to limb length or ankle or hip mobility, or if you have knee issues, or if you have shoulder issues, or just how familiar you are with the exercise. Because if you've always done back squats and never tried a front squat, you're probably gonna be a little bit better at back squats. But sometimes back squats aren't the best option for some people, because when you're doing back squats, if you have limited mobility, you're gonna struggle with getting proper depth of the rep. And if, let's say that your legs are a bit longer, it's very common to struggle with keeping your torso upright, which can lead to unnecessary low back soreness. Now, front squats, on the other hand, like I mentioned, they're not necessarily easier. A lot of people actually find them more difficult because when done correctly, they require a lot more stability. But it is a bit easier to keep your torso upright, and some people find it easier to hit proper depth. And again, how you train depends on what your goal is. But I would almost always rather someone get full range of motion out of any exercise rather than load up on a bunch of weight and only do partial reps. So I'd recommend trying them both out and seeing which one is more comfortable for you and which one you feel more in the leg muscles you wanna target, and get that mind muscle connection, because that's super important, and then go from there. But all right, next up, we have pull-ups versus banded pull-ups. Now, if you remember, I mentioned a second ago how some exercise modifications are actually gonna be better if you can't do the original. Well, this is one of those exercises, because pull-ups, they're no joke. Most people struggle to do even one, but they're also super, super beneficial. One of the best upper body back exercises that there are. So instead of just hanging from a pull-up bar with your feet off the ground and kicking as hard as you can and struggling to get in one single solid rep, try using bands or an assisted pull-up machine if your gym has it. Because banded pull-ups will not only allow you to get in more reps than regular body weight pull-ups, but it'll allow you to actually perform the movement how it's supposed to be performed, which means full range of motion and squeezing your lats at the top and keeping your scapula retracted as you pull yourself up, and a nice steady tempo where you're in control. And obviously, the lighter the band, the closer to the actual pull-up weight it'll be. So depending on where you are strength-wise, maybe start out with a band that has more resistance, and as you progress and get your form down, you can work your way to a lighter band, and then hopefully eventually no band at all. But same thing as push-ups. It's so much more beneficial for you to get 5 to 10 banded pull-ups with perfect form rather than 1 or 2 or maybe 3 pull-ups with crappy form. Next up, we have barbell deadlifts versus dumbbell deadlifts. Now, obviously deadlifts are one of the best, if not the best, overall total body exercises. But for anyone with back issues or who's new to deadlifting, you might want to try deadlifting with dumbbells or even a hex bar instead. And again, dumbbell or hex bar deadlifts aren't necessarily easier. And sometimes people have both regular barbell deadlifts and dumbbell or hex bar deadlifts programmed into their workout split. But with dumbbells or hex bar, the main benefit is that they put less stress on the lumbar spine and require less technical proficiency, AKA it's easier to do without knowing perfect form than the barbell deadlift. Therefore, you might be able to control your range of motion and your tempo a lot better. And with dumbbells or hex bar especially, since the horizontal displacement of the barbell away from the body is 75% less than with a straight barbell, AKA because the positioning of the bar / weight is in a more opportune position, you'll most likely be able to use a heavier weight and develop lower body power more efficiently than you would with a standard barbell deadlift. So again, try them both out. If you absolutely love regular barbell deadlifts, I'm not saying you should stop doing those. I do those all the time. But I'm saying for some people, dumbbell or hex bar deadlifts may be worth a shot if you struggle with those regular deadlifts, or if you just want to change things up a little bit. Now, last I want to throw in one for abs real quick, just to show that this exercise modification rule can be applied to any type of exercise. So for this example, I'm going to use V-ups versus V-tucks. Now, V-ups have made an appearance in tons of my videos here on the channel, but to an average gym goer or someone who doesn't hit abs very much, they're not the easiest ab exercise to do and require quite a bit of core strength. So same rule applies here. Rather than struggling to get more than 2 or 3 clean reps of V-ups, try doing tucks instead. So rather than keeping both of your legs and your arms straight when you raise up into a V, just simply bend your legs on the way up and tuck them into your body. This not only puts less pressure on your back if you're not quite strong enough yet, but it can also be just as challenging, if not more challenging, than doing them in the V position, because you'll actually be able to do a full set of them with proper form. Again, I'd rather you get 10 to 15 quality reps of V-tucks instead of 4 to 5 clean reps of V-ups followed by 4 to 5 crappy reps where you're just creating momentum and throwing your legs around. Now, look, I get it. You want to do the real thing, but if you take one thing from this video, it's that you should never fear modifications, especially because you may discover that they work better for you anyway. But that's all for this video, guys. If you have any questions or future video recommendations, make sure that you're throwing a comment down in the comment section below. But I hope this helped. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.